Hello everybody, this is Akanksha Singh and I'll be taking you through the entire series of maths and science. Don't forget to like my videos and subscribe my channel, and your feedback is always welcomed.
Hello class, today we're going to discuss ratio and proportion. Now ratio and proportion uh, are made up of two words. One is ratio, the other is called as proportion. Now we'll be understanding each of them one by one. Let's start by what you mean by ratio. Now ratio means drawing comparison or comparing two values. Now when you compare two values, you often use the term ratio. Let us take an example of a class. So here we can see that I have assumed a class which has number of girls and number of boys. Now the girls are 10 in count, whereas boys are 50 in count. Now when someone says, how much is the ratio between the girls and boys? The common answer is that the ratio between the girls and boys is 10 is to 50. How are we coming to that conclusion? Let's see. See, number of girls are 10 and number of boys are 50. Now, girl is to boy. This is how you represent the ratio. This symbol is represented for ratio. Now, girl is to boy is represented by the number of count of girls is to number of count of boys. So number of count of girls was 10, number of count of boys were 50. So 10 is to 50 is the ratio between the girls and boys. Now further you can go ahead and simplify this 10 is to 50. How can you simplify this? Now 10 is to 50 can also be written as 10 upon 50. Now 10 upon 50, when you simplify 10 upon 50, you can easily cancel the zero terms and you'll be getting 1 is to 5. So 1 is to 5 is the ratio of girls and boys in the class that we've discussed just now. So I hope you've understood. See, ratio is used for drawing comparison, and the two quantities can be compared using ratio. Ratio is represented by a colon, two dots. Girls is to boys is the example that we've taken here. You can also represent the ratio term in the fraction portion as we've seen right now. Now moving ahead to another term that is called as equivalent ratio. Now what do you mean by equivalent ratio? Two ratios when taken can be called as equivalent to each other. Either they are equal or their simplification is equal to each other. So let's take up an example. There are two ratios, 5 is to 6, and another one is also 5 is to 6. By just having a look, you can understand that these are equivalent, right? Now, another question, 12 is to 4 and 6 is to 2. Are they equivalent? I think there will be a pause. Yes, they are equivalent. So 12 is to 4 can be represented by 12 divided by 4. Now when you simplify 12 divided by 4, so you can cancel the two terms by 2 is to 2 is 4 and 2 6 12. So 6 is to 2. So 12 is to 4 can be written as 6 is to 2. And this 6 is to 2. This 12 is to 4. Simplification of 12 is to 4 is 6 is to 2. And 6 is to 2 is therefore equivalent to 6 is to 2. Right? So this is the equivalent ratios. Equivalent ratios are just not equal. They can also be like their simplifications are equal to each other. Moving ahead to proportion. Another word that we discussed is proportion. Now, proportion. Two ratios are said to be proportionate when they are equivalent to each other. Just now we have discussed the definition of equivalency in ratio. Now, two ratios are said to be proportionate when they are equivalent to each other. So how do you represent proportion? You represent proportion by double colon. So 15 is to 8 is one ratio. 15 is to 5 is to 6 is another ratio. Now, these two ratios can be proportionate when they're equivalent to each other. So when you simplify 15 is to 18, you will be finding out that it is equivalent to 5 is to 6, and therefore you can say that 15 is to 18 is equivalent to 5 is to 6, and therefore these two ratios are proportionate to each other. Moving ahead to the common examples that we are that ratio and proportion questions have commonly have. Okay, so idle question. The first question that we're going to take up is, there's a girl, Anita, who takes 10 minutes to walk to school. And there's another boy called Hemant who takes almost 1 hour to reach school. Now, there's a common question asked, what is the ratio of time taken by Anita and Hemant to reach the school? So let's find out. The question also has how much time is taken by Anita and how much time is taken by Hemant. So how much time is taken by Anita? 10 minutes are taken by Anita. And how much time is taken by Hemant? 1 hour is taken by Hemant. So let's move ahead to finding out the ratio between the two. So time taken by Anita is 10 minutes and time taken by Hemant is 1 hour. Now, the quantities are not in same units. So we'll be converting hour into minutes. So this is something that you have to pay attention to, that you have to focus on changing the units to be same. So minute is a smaller unit. We'll be converting hour into minute. So hour, if we convert, 1 hour has 60 minutes. So Hemant takes 60 minutes to reach the school. Now, when you find out the ratio is 10 is to 60, right? 10 minutes is to 60 minutes. So you can write it as 10 divided by 60, which can be further simplified as 1 by 6. So 1 is to 6 is the ratio of time taken by Anita and Hemant to reach the school. So this is the idle question that I've discussed. The further, let us take up one more example. Now, this is a question of means and extremes. Now, when there are 4 numbers given to you, and a common question is, are these 4 numbers in proportion to each other? So let's see how do you find out such questions, answer to such questions. Now, these are 4 numbers, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a question is that, are they in proportion? So you have to first understand the two terms, means and extremes. Now, in this 4 numbers, what are means and what are extremes? So 2 and 5 here, the terms that are in extremes are extremes, and 2 terms that are there in the center are means. So extremes are 2 and 5 and means are 3 and 4. So to find out whether they are in proportion or not, we need to find out the product of mean and product of extreme. So product of mean, 3 and 4. 3 into 4 gives you 12, and product of extreme, 2 and 5. 2 into 5 gives you 10. Now, to find out if they are in proportion or not, you will have to see that their products, product of mean and product of extreme, should be equal. Since here the product of mean and product of extremes are not equal, the given numbers are not in proportion to each other. I hope you've understood. This is very simple. Whenever you are given 4 numbers and the question is that find out whether they are in proportion or not, you have to understand what are extremes and what are means. Find out the product of extreme and product of mean. And if the product of mean and product of extremes are equal, then you can say that they are in proportion. So here I am giving you certain questions to solve. I'll give you 2 minutes to solve the question, or just pause the video and solve these questions, and I'm going ahead to solve these questions. So write the ratio in the simplest form. The first question is that you're given a ratio and you're being asked to write it in their simplest form. 72 is to 30. Now 72 is to 30 can be written as 72 upon 30. And when you simplify this as 6 5s are 30 and 6 1s are 6, 1 remainder, 6 2s are 12. So 12 upon 5. So the ratio, simplified ratio is 12 is to 5, right? The second question is find the ratio of 9 days to weeks. Now 9 days and 3 weeks. Now definitely the units are not same. So we'll be converting the bigger unit into smaller unit. So weeks, 1 week has 7 days. So 3 weeks are going to have 3 into 7, which is 21, right? 3 into 7 will give me 21. So there are 21 days. So 9 days is to 21 days. So 9 upon 21, when you simplify 9 upon 21, how can you simplify this? 3 3s are 9 and 3 7s are 21, right? So 3 is to 7 is your answer. I hope you're enjoying. Let's move ahead. Determine if 4, 6, 8, 12 are in proportion or not. Remember, I had told you you will be first calculating the product of extremes and then the product of means. So extremes is 4 into 12 and mean is 6 into 8. Both are 48, therefore they are in proportion to each other. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like the video and share the video, and your feedback was always welcomed. Thank you so much.